Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another interview on our Wellness Quality Management Community of Practice. Hi, Geno. Thank you for joining us again.
My pleasure, Dr. Amadi.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me on.
appreciate it. So we are discussing the value of mentorship and especially the professional mentorship, especially in organizations, other than getting mentorship for your own personal growth, for your professional growth, and how that plays hand in hand. Could you give us more information on what is professional mentorship?
One good mentor could be more informative than a college degree and more valuable than a decade's worth of income. A mentor acts as a guide, either for your personal life or professional life. And there's different mentors. They show up in your life. The saying I have is the teacher appears when the student is ready. If you're going to buy a house, talk to someone else that's already bought one, that's had the experience. You are talking to people that have already lived through an event that you want to live through. Now, the professional part comes from work. Those are usually the ones that we talked about last time, which is a very strictly guarded program, mentorship protege program that corporations like to have, and that's the formal one. And that's what we're talking about today. So we'll skip the informal part. The formal, you are usually assigned someone, and that's fine. Now, one of the things you need to do is establish the rapport. And if it doesn't work, ask for reassignment. You are not a tree. You can get up and move. You're not planted. You're not rooted. Usually corporations figure out, excuse me, early on, who are the mentors? Who are the people that are willing to mentor, that are able to mentor, that have the experience to mentor, and you get assigned that mentor. The point of this is that 71% of the Fortune 50 of the United States have a mentor-protege program. So please, I beg you, join your company's mentor-protege program. And that's not the only place. You also have programs like that at universities. I was a mentor to University of Miami MBA students. That's where I got my MBA. So I got that opportunity. At Toastmasters International, we also assign you a mentor to help you with your first 6 speeches. So that formal program is what we're talking about today.
Good. So actually, that's exactly what we wanted to talk about. This is the formal one that happens in our organizations, definitely.
Yes.
And I've had the experience of also mentoring and also being a mentee in those programs, meaning that in our programs, individuals from the organization volunteer to meet with other proteges, as you mentioned. So I'm trying to better understand from your perspective, what are the key criteria of being a professional mentor when it comes to trying to deal with your mentees and trying to guide your students or proteges, as you said?
The one word quick answer is experience. The person must have experience in whatever it is that they're teaching or mentoring.
Mhm.
The saying I came up with is, the more I mentor, the more I learn. The more I learn, the more I can teach. The more I teach, the more I can learn. And it's a nice little circle of mentoring, teaching, learning.
Exactly.
I learn a lot when I teach. So professional mentor has to have the experience, has to be willing, and they had to have had some proteges, because not every relationship is going to be successful. So you learn from your failures way more than your successes. Having enough failures is also key, because that just makes you better, so that you learn from those mistakes and it's better for the next person. I love the part about volunteering, and it is a volunteer position, You're not getting paid anything extra. So it has to be somebody willing to give up time and talent to this venture. And it often turns out to be reciprocal. And I see it as a huge opportunity in corporate America. I'm a baby boomer and I'm officially retired. I'm not really, with all the teaching that I do at 4 universities. So people have to reciprocate. It can't be a one-way street the whole time. And it happens to me often. So I'm a baby boomer. The next generations behind me or after me, they have an opportunity to coach me on, for instance, computer literacy or new programs that come out. I'm very well versed with computers. I've worked with them since 1980 when I was in college. So I'm not scared of them, but they can be more challenging because I didn't grow up with it. Not like the children today. My 15-year-old grabs an iPhone and whizzes around that thing like amazing. So for mentees, they have an opportunity to give back and teach the mentor something. And that's what I love, the bi-directional relationship.
Mhm. Nice. Yes, so we discussed that briefly last time, that you have to be a mentor and a mentee, trying to understand the differences in maybe perspectives, ideas, and experiences, as you mentioned, and that trust building, I think, is the key here, is that your mentee or whoever you're mentoring trusts you with the information that you're giving them. So let's talk about the benefits of having good mentorship. What are some of the benefits that you've seen people would realize when they work with a good professional mentor?
The way I liken it is to the difference between a travel agent and a tour guide. The travel agent says, "Where are you going?" "Oh, I'm going to Russia." "Okay, here's your plane ticket. Here's your hotel reservation. Give me the money. Have a nice day." The tour guide says, "Wait a minute, you're going to Russia? Okay, what city you're going to? Make sure you stay at this hotel, eat at this restaurant. Oh, and by the way, stay away from that neighborhood over there because you're going to get scammed." So it's a guide that holds your hand, shows you the ropes, shows you the way. It's somebody that's already been. Say you're going to go walk in the forest and there are no paths, but someone's walked to the forest already and they know the path. They're going to show you that path. So it's a shortcut. The best example I give is through Toastmasters. I had a young lady come to me and say, "Geno, what's this DTM thing, Distinguished Toastmaster, highest educational award that you can get in Toastmasters?" "Oh, okay, I get it. I want one. How do I do it? I'm graduating with a master's degree. I'm starting my own actuarial firm. I got to get this thing done and behind me." So for me, I did have a mentor. She was phenomenal. She was the most awarded Toastmasters in the world, having achieved over 60 educational awards in less than 1 year. She visited the club every day, is the average, because sometimes she'd visit 3 clubs in a day. 460 odd clubs all over South Florida and all over the world. And I had the opportunity of her being my mentor. And she told me to just take every opportunity. And I did. I never said no. When they asked me to do something, I did it. And I achieved that Distinguished Toastmaster in 39 months.
Wow.
Not a world record, not a beater, but this young lady that I showed the ropes, that I gave her a plan, that we often talked to see where she was going, how she was doing, she did it in 29 months.
Wow.
That's the power of mentoring. It is a shortcut to your life because you can bang your head against the wall and try to figure out on your own. And there's many things you have to figure out on your own. But if someone's already figured out something, they can show you that something, it's much better. You
Yes,
don't need to fall flat on your face when someone's there that can guide you.
definitely. No, this is great. The shortcut, because we call it best practices in our community of practice, meaning that
Okay.
let's share our best practices so we know what are the better way of doing things. And instead of doing trial and error and trying to find ways that are discussed maybe publicly, but people really haven't experienced it. And as you mentioned, a mentor has gone through that, so they can give you all the best practices along the way to say, avoid this pitfall, avoid this challenge, and try to do this planning ahead of time. And this is the best practice that I've found because I succeeded. And this is how would I improve my way if I had to go through it again. And I'd love to hear stories like this. If you have stories that you can share with us from your experience of either mentoring somebody or being a mentee at a position where our people understand what do we mean by mentorship. It's not just going to a counseling and somebody tells you what to do. It's more you making that decision to improve yourself.
Really, you hit the nail on the head. I use a little bit more layman terms when I said shortcut, and you
Mhm.
said community of practice or best practices.
Mhm.
That was good.
Mhm.
But I think you said another word, which was trust.
Mhm.
There has to be a very high level of trust, and that comes from the building of a relationship.
Yeah.
The best mentor protege relationships that I've had are long. They're not short term, and they develop over time. So initially, somebody might ask you a question that you can answer very quickly, or there's a question that involves a lot more steps. Now you get that opportunity to teach. I don't have a specific example. I think my best one was showing this young lady from Toastmasters how to become a DTM. And since that, I've made it DTM instead of Distinguished Toastmaster. It's devoted to mentoring, which is the
Mhm.
name of our show. And I've mentored 7 or 8 other Toastmasters to become DTM. One gentleman was a Toastmaster for 15 years and never did it. It just wasn't in him because you have to do this district leadership position, which is a little time consuming and involves a little bit of travel. But I
Yeah.
got him to do it and I got others. And what I realized is the same as when I was teaching yoga. I didn't want to have more students. I wanted to have more yoga instructors. And it's the same with Toastmasters. I don't want more members. I want more members to become a DTM because each DTM can impact the next generation.
Mhm. Sounds good. Yeah, that's great goal, and that's a valuable benefit that you can give to your mentees as well as expectation that people should have from their mentors. So that's great. I appreciate all the information there. And maybe after this thing, I become a Toastmaster too. I don't know. I've heard a lot
Hey,
about it. Never got
watch
into
out. Watch out. If you get near me, you could get infected.
Yeah, I heard a lot about it and I've seen a lot of their meetings, but yeah, that might be something possible in future. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Great.
have to say that too, that about being a mentor is that you never not only not stop teaching, you never stop learning yourself.
Learning. Exactly.
So I have a protege. We built a relationship ever since he was my student in 2009. We're now 14 years later, and we've gotten really close over the last 5 years. He's a safety professional, safety expert, and he challenged me because I had a client that came to me say, yeah, we need to teach an OSHA 30, which I'm authorized to do,
Mhm.
but in the construction industry.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there's 4 industries, and the next one is called general industry.
Mhm.
And I didn't have that certification and I needed it. And he challenged me and said, hey, look, there's a course coming up. You can take it for free from the university. You got your first
Mhm.
OSHA authorization. And I signed up for it. So here I am, 68 years old, about to take another course and learn another skill and another thing to be able to teach others.
Exactly. That's good. Yeah, that's the cycle. It's always keep learning, and that's
Yeah.
the growth mindset that we encourage.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much. Appreciate it, and I hope to see you again next week, and we'll continue this discussion and get into challenges and pitfalls of a mentorship program. So we'll
I
get
love
to.
it.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Armani. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.